The fabric of space-time might be woven by wormholes.
Their entire digital existence summarized in just a few letters of the alphabet.
Imagine compressing an entire digital existence, everything that makes up a person's life, into just a few simple letters. The Book of Enoch, once banned and whispered about in secret, describes cosmic gateways, heavenly watchers, and realms beyond time itself. Today, groundbreaking quantum experiments are uncovering evidence that space may be woven from entangled threads, making hidden dimensions more than just myth.
We find mathematically, if we cut the threads of quantum entanglement, space falls apart.
These scientific breakthroughs line up with quantum discovery's recent crack of the Book of Enoch, uncovering a horrible connection. The Book of Enoch meets quantum physics. So scientists just proved particles can stay connected across space. Meanwhile, Enoch was out here talking about portals in the sky. In 2017, theoretical physicists Juan Maldacena and Leonard Susskind proposed the radical EPR conjecture, the idea that Einstein-Rosen bridges, or wormholes, are actually quantum entanglement links. Then, in 2022, researchers at MIT conducted an experiment showing that entangled photons can form correlations so strong they behave as though connected by a tunnel through space-time itself. Every time one photon shifts, its partner does too, instantly, across distance. It's as if there's a hidden doorway tying them together. Not theory, lab-tested, measured, verified. The data shows that even when separated by kilometers, entangled particles remain locked in perfect sync. The math suggests space-time itself may emerge from these quantum connections. No space in between, just a bridge made of pure information. Now, return to Enoch. He writes of stars singing in unison, of heavenly doors opening to reveal realms of light, of beings who move beyond the boundaries of Earth. Are these just poetic flourishes, or early descriptions of quantum phenomena? Could Enoch's journey through celestial portals actually be a mystical memory of a quantum bridge? And here's the wild part. This is just the beginning. What if the Book of Enoch wasn't just myth, but quantum memory? Long before telescopes scanned the skies and quantum theories probed the void, there was the Book of Enoch, likely penned around 300 BCE and credited to Enoch, the great-grandfather of Noah. This mysterious text wasn't just another ancient scroll. It was revered by early Jewish sects, even quoted in the Epistle of Jude. And yet, it was vanished from most biblical canons. Why? Because it whispered secrets too unsettling to ignore. Enoch spoke of the Watchers, celestial beings sent to observe humanity. But they broke the rules. They taught forbidden knowledge, astronomy, metallurgy, enchantment, the kind of stuff that rewrites the fate of civilizations. In his journey, Enoch claims he was taken through 7 heavens, each one with its own rules of time, light, and reality. Imagine a cosmic library, guarded by angelic scribes, filled with codes that pulse like the tree of life itself. This wasn't just spiritual poetry. It was a tour of creation's control room. Medieval scholars branded it heresy. The church feared its wild talk of portals, angelic machines, and layered heavens. But here's the twist. Its descriptions of meteor showers, orbital paths, and dimensional layers were eerily accurate. Now, the first section, known as the Apocalypse of the Weeks, presents a vision of world history structured in 10 symbolic weeks. The first 7 weeks recount events from the past, while the remaining 3 point to the future. The narrative culminates in a striking moment within the 7th part of the 10th week, when a new heaven is said to appear, ushering in an era of countless weeks where righteousness and goodness will reign without end. Following this is a short segment called The Exhortation, where Enoch offers moral guidance to his son, Methuselah. These instructions serve as a transition to the next part, the Epistle. Here, the focus shifts to theological reflections on divine wisdom, the ultimate reward awaiting the righteous, and the punishment reserved for the wicked. It outlines 2 distinct life paths, one leading to salvation, the other to ruin. This section also includes 6 prophetic declarations against sinners, a cosmic testimony from all creation condemning human wrongdoing, and a firm affirmation of life after death and the destinies tied to human choices. The next portion, the birth of Noah, is found in the Qumran scrolls and appears as a standalone appendix, separated by a blank line. It recounts Noah's birth, describing him with angelic features, and ties directly into the flood narrative. The story portrays Noah as divinely chosen, born during a time of great corruption, with his life symbolizing a new beginning for humanity. The final section, often labeled the conclusion, is absent from the Qumran manuscripts and is thought to be a later addition by a redactor. It contrasts the so-called generation of light, destined for salvation, with sinners condemned to darkness. Enoch's journeys through the heavenly realms are another reason the book may have been sidelined. These visions include explicit depictions of heavenly beings, divine courts, and the brutal punishments awaiting the wicked. Imagery that could be seen as too intense or revealing for religious institutions to endorse. Some suggest the church avoided the text because it exposes information that would have frightened the faithful or challenged orthodox teachings. More provocatively, the Book of Enoch describes beings with advanced knowledge and capabilities, possibly extraterrestrial in nature, who visited Earth, shared forbidden technology, and produced hybrid offspring. This corrupted exchange between the Watchers and humans, according to the book, is what ultimately led to the Great Flood. The text doesn't shy away from explaining how this knowledge was wiped from the face of the earth, leaving only traces and warnings behind. This raises difficult questions. Was Enoch communicating with beings from beyond Earth? Did his ascents and descents into the heavens involve contact with non-human intelligences? Was he recording interactions with sovereign powers of another civilization? These are questions few dare to ask openly today, especially since this text has long been dismissed as apocryphal. The divine. Are we stuck on a single timeline, or are we the pilots of a vessel that can jump between moments? In 2016, theoretical physicist James Gates discovered something wild while studying supersymmetry equations in string theory, error-correcting codes. These were real mathematical structures, identical to those used in digital communication to detect and fix data errors. So the obvious question is, why are they in the fabric of the universe at all? Are they just noise, or signs of a deeper computational architecture? Now reread Enoch with that lens. He describes heavenly scribes recording every deed, weighing souls, governing light and darkness. Traditionally, we've called them angels, but what if there's something else? Enoch also speaks of portals, gateways that teleport him across cosmic distances in an instant. What if those aren't visions, but literal backdoors in the system, the universe's own developer console? Every law of physics becomes an algorithm, every quantum event a function call, decoherence, rendering. Enoch may not have been a mystic. He may have been an accidental quantum coder, describing the source code of reality with ancient language. The tablets of heaven? Think cosmic hard drives inscribed with the rules of space, time, and morality. The Book of Life? A data log tracking persistent consciousness, souls, across lifetimes. This doesn't downplay Enoch, it amplifies him. Maybe he wasn't just seeing angels and visions, maybe he glimpsed the actual operating system behind everything. And that brings us to now. In 2024, a team of physicists made a bold claim. Space-time and matter aren't fundamental. They emerge from networks of quantum information. In this view, qubits, the basic units of quantum data, aren't just for computation. They are reality. No particles, no space, just pure interaction. Information dancing between nodes in a quantum causal history. Reality isn't built from things. This is what American physicist John Archibald Wheeler meant when he said, "it from bit." Every galaxy, Every thought, every moment, emerges from binary decisions. So where does that leave us? If the universe is information, then the real mystery isn't what it's made of? Because in quantum theory, the observer changes everything. And in this framework, the observer might not be outside the system, and they might be the key to why it exists at all. If you've made it this far, you're not here for surface-level answers. Drop your theory in the comments: simulation, higher dimensions, or something else entirely. Black holes. It wasn't just a disagreement. It was a scientific showdown that shook the foundations of physics, with black holes as the arena and reality itself on the line. Now, imagine two of the world's most brilliant minds locked in a scientific duel that spanned nearly 3 decades. One of them was Stephen Hawking. The battleground? Black holes? The stakes? The very laws of reality. In the Black Hole War, my battle with Stephen Hawking to make the world safe for quantum mechanics, Leonard Susskind takes readers deep into one of the most heated scientific showdowns of the modern era. Published in July of 2008, this book isn't just a science explainer. It's the story of a personal quest, a scientific rebellion, and a years-long intellectual battle to defend the honor of quantum mechanics. It all began in 1981 at a gathering of top physicists who had convened to untangle the mysteries of the universe's most fundamental particles. It was there that Stephen Hawking dropped a bombshell. He claimed that any information swallowed by a black hole is lost forever, erased from existence once the black hole eventually evaporates. To the quantum physics community, that statement wasn't just controversial, it was blasphemy. Susskind, deeply unsettled by the implications, refused to accept it. If Hawking was right, it would mean quantum mechanics, a theory that had never failed, was incomplete. So Susskind launched into a decades-long effort to challenge the claim, diving into some of the most mind-bending mathematics and physics imaginable. And after 28 years of debate, thought experiments, and breakthroughs, he believed he had finally cracked it. The Black Hole War is the story of how he did it, told not in dense academic language, but with the lay reader in mind. While Susskind admits that the real machinery of quantum theory relies on things like infinite dimensional Hilbert spaces and complex unitary matrices, his goal was simple: to help everyday readers grasp the wonder and weirdness of the universe without a PhD in physics. The result is a book that doesn't just explain black holes, it takes you into the heart of a cosmic mystery, alongside two titans of science fighting to define what reality truly is. The fallen angels. Have you ever felt a chill down your spine while reading about mythical beasts from ancient legends? What if, behind the veil of myth, lurked something far more otherworldly? Creatures crafted not by men, but by fallen angels? Let's rewind. According to ancient texts, some sacred, others obscure, there was a time when celestial beings rebelled against divine order. Cast out from the heavens, these fallen angels didn't just wander aimlessly on earth. No. According to some of the most fascinating and chilling theories, they bred with humans. And the offspring? Well, they were anything but ordinary. Take the Nephilim, for example. Giants, warriors, beings of immense power and intelligence, born from the union of angels and women, mentioned right there in the Hebrew Bible. Their very existence blurs the line between myth and divine rebellion. And it's not just in biblical texts. Greek mythology whispers of similar hybrids. Consider the Minotaur, a monstrous fusion of man and bull, born from a union that defies nature. Was this simply a tale of punishment, or the dark handiwork of those same celestial outcasts meddling in human affairs? But here's the real question. Why are we so captivated by these beings? Why do stories of Chimera, with its lion's body, goat's head, and serpent tail, still haunt and fascinate us? It's more than their monstrous forms. It's what they represent: chaos, destruction, the unknown. The hero who slays the Chimera isn't just winning a fight, he's restoring order in a world teetering on the edge of madness. So think about it. How do you battle the chaos in your life? How do you find your balance when the world feels like a three-headed beast? Then there are the harpies, part woman, part bird, always snatching away what we hold dear. They don't just terrorize mythological landscapes, they symbolize our deepest fear, loss, the kind that creeps in when you least expect it. Ever felt like everything's slipping through your fingers? The harpies are that feeling, personified. And who could forget the Sphinx? Lion's body, eagle's wings, woman's face, and riddles as sharp as her claws. She's the gatekeeper of wisdom, her puzzles mirroring life's greatest mysteries. Remember her riddle? What walks on 4 legs in the morning, 2 at noon, and 3 in the evening? Consider the centaur, half human, half horse, an image of our dual nature. 1 foot in reason, the other in wild instinct. Don't we all wrestle between the parts of us that want control and the parts that crave freedom? And then there's the griffin, majestic, noble, with the body of a lion and wings of an eagle. A guardian of treasures and sacred spaces, it stands for courage, strength, and protection. We admire it not just for its power, but for its purpose. So I ask you, what traits do you value most in a protector? And how do you show up as a guardian in your own life? When we peel back the layers of these legends, we uncover more than just monstrous tales. We find mirrors, reflecting our fears, our struggles, our hopes. These creatures, born of rebellion and myth, speak to the timeless story of what it means to be human. If this journey through myth and meaning sparked something in you, like this video, and let's keep the conversation going in the comments. A quantum realm. What if Enoch had a front row seat to a quantum realm? Think about this. The Orc theory, proposed by Roger Penrose and Stuart Hameroff, suggests that consciousness emerges from quantum activity inside the brain's microtubules. In controlled environments, these structures stay coherent just long enough to affect brain function, possibly tapping into quantum channels of reality. Now, picture Enoch's mind entangled with higher dimensions, a quantum leap of consciousness, his awareness slipping beyond time, where light sings, time loops, and matter turns to pure information. His ascension might not be symbolic at all. It could have been literal, a teleportation of the mind across entangled space-time. Still think it's just mystical rambling? Modern meditation studies show something wild. Volunteers report losing track of time, experiencing synesthesia, and merging with what they call a cosmic field. Sound familiar? Those symptoms echo Enoch's journey through the heavens. And then, in 2023, everything got stranger. A European research team, led by physicist Sandu Popescu, ran a groundbreaking experiment on quantum tunneling, a phenomenon where particles pass through barriers they shouldn't, like ghosts through walls. But Popescu's team didn't just ask if tunneling occurred, they asked when. Using entangled electrons and ultra-precise tech, they made a shocking discovery. In certain cases, electrons appeared to tunnel backwards in time. Their destination was recorded before their origin. This wasn't a glitch, it was consistent, repeatable, and peer-reviewed. Let that sink in. Reality, in some quantum layer, runs in reverse. If time can flow both ways, cause and effect crumble. The arrow of time, the bedrock of physics, starts to curl. And suddenly, Enoch's tale doesn't sound so mythical. He describes witnessing the past and future at once. He speaks of heavenly tablets that record events before they happen. For centuries, these were dismissed as metaphors. But what if they weren't? What if Enoch was observing retrocausality, something real, now confirmed in labs? Even mainstream physicists like Yakir Aharonov propose the two-state vector formalism, where the future helps shape the present. Blend that with Popescu's results, and Enoch's visions feel less like scripture and more like a user manual for space-time. He might have accessed a state of consciousness where time isn't a line, but a landscape. And that changes everything. It suggests ancient mystics weren't hallucinating. They were downloading data from a timeless field, and knowledge, true empirical knowledge, could be embedded in ancient texts, waiting for science to catch up. Still not convinced? Enoch wrote that in the seventh heaven, hundreds of years passed on earth, while for him, it was just a moment. He saw civilizations rise and fall in a single breath. That sounds suspiciously like quantum time dilation, a known effect in physics, now being explored in neuroscience and consciousness studies. The cosmos. What if the veil between mysticism and science is thinner than we thought, and we've been walking along its edge all along? The ancient prophet Enoch once wrote, "All things were first shown to me as thought before they were formed." For generations, we dismissed this as metaphor, poetic mysticism at best. But what if it wasn't poetry? What if it was physics? What if the universe doesn't begin with matter or energy, but with intention? What if reality, at its core, isn't mechanical, but mental? Today, some physicists are starting to entertain a radical idea, that consciousness might be woven into the very fabric of the universe itself. This is the core of panpsychism, a theory that sees awareness not as an emergent trait, but as a fundamental one. Others go even further, suggesting we live in a participatory universe, where reality only snaps into place the moment it's observed. Tie that to Enoch's vision of worlds built from thought and living light, and a bold possibility emerges, that physics and mysticism might be speaking the same truth in different dialects, one through equations, the other through ecstatic vision. And here's the twist. The universe may not just be informational, it may be intentional, alive, conscious. In that light, the Book of Enoch might not be ancient myth, it might be ancient code, a forgotten blueprint to the structure behind all things. We began this journey with a claim that new quantum discoveries seem to echo the Book of Enoch. And after peeling back layers of entanglement, time anomalies, and error-correcting patterns embedded in reality, we're left with a haunting question. Was Enoch seeing visions or making observations? His tales of portals and watchers, of realms where time flows differently, once seemed fantastical. But now they mirror phenomena science is only beginning to validate: quantum tunneling, space-time dilation, information trees that pulse like living systems. This doesn't prove angels or heaven, but it does suggest something deeper, that ancient wisdom may have glimpsed the architecture of reality long before modern science gave us the tools to measure it. Maybe Enoch, in an altered state of consciousness, tapped into a quantum field, something our ancestors knew intuitively through ritual and vision. And now, millennia later, we're translating that same experience into math and models. This could be the start of a renaissance, not one that divides science and spirit, but one that unites them. Prophets and physicists finally walking the same road. What we've long called myth might actually be proto-science, encoded in symbol, waiting for us to grow into it. The signs are there: entanglement, emergent space, backwards time, even simulated code. The universe is deeper and weirder than we ever imagined. And maybe, just maybe, Enoch has been trying to tell us all along. The astronomical book. Just when we think we've grasped the weight of angelic rebellions, the story shifts, quietly yet profoundly. Enoch is taken beyond the battlegrounds of heaven and into the secret rhythms of the cosmos itself. Here, he witnesses not chaos, but perfect choreography. The sun, moon, and stars move in harmony, their every step guided by unseen divine hands. But this isn't just a cosmic weather report. This vision reveals something far deeper. The heavens don't just shine, they speak. They mark time, seasons, and sacred days. And through them, God weaves a calendar that aligns earth with heaven. Unlike ancient texts filled with vague astrological musings, the astronomical Book of Enoch doesn't entertain guesswork. It offers a bold truth. Celestial bodies obey spiritual laws. Angelic beings oversee the sun's rising, the moon's phases, and the twinkling paths of stars. Their motion is not random, it's righteousness in motion. One of the first revelations Enoch receives is about time itself. He learns that the true calendar, the one that keeps humanity in step with divine will, is solar, not lunar. The sun's path, not the moon's erratic phases, reflects God's eternal order. This solar calendar runs for 364 days, and its structure echoes powerfully in the Ethiopian Orthodox tradition, which still follows a 13-month solar year, 12 months of 30 days, plus a 13th month, Pagum, with 5 or 6 extra days. Why does this matter? Because when time slips out of divine rhythm, so does everything else. Enoch sees that using the wrong calendar doesn't just mix up dates, it scrambles spiritual life. Sabbaths shift, festivals drift, even the harvest falters. The further we move from God's timing, the more disordered the world becomes. But in Ethiopia, the ancient calendar persists like a quiet rebellion against modern timekeeping. It's more than tradition, it's theology, a sacred rhythm pulsing in sync with the heavens. Enoch learns that sin doesn't just fracture human hearts, it disturbs the cosmos. The rebellion of the fallen angels triggers not just spiritual fallout, but astronomical chaos. The sun stutters, the stars falter, the heavens themselves tremble. Isaiah echoes this in haunting clarity. The earth is broken up, violently shaken. In that day, the Lord will punish the powers in the heavens above. When humanity defies divine order, creation itself groans in response. So the message is clear. The cosmos runs on more than gravity. It runs on glory. The stars don't just shine, they testify. And when we live out of sync with God's design, even the sky can feel it. If you believe the heavens still speak today, echoing God's rhythm and rule, maybe it's time we started listening again. The Watcher's Book. Long before conspiracy theories and sci-fi thrillers, an ancient text laid out a divine rebellion, complete with rogue angels, forbidden tech, and the birth of giants. It tells of the Watchers, divine beings who defied their order, falling from grace and fathering the Nephilim, the legendary giants briefly mentioned in Genesis 6, verses 1-4. These aren't mere myths. Enoch's writings detail their descent, their oaths, and the chaos they unleashed on earth. From the very first lines, we're told Enoch was no ordinary man. He was righteous, his eyes opened by God to witness divine visions meant not for his own generation, but for one far in the future. He was shown the sons of God, heard their secrets, and saw what was to come. This ancient book doesn't just whisper prophecy, it roars with judgment. It speaks of God descending to Mount Sinai with a heavenly army, declaring a future reckoning where sinners perish and the righteous live on in radiant peace. The first section reads like a celestial drama. Semjaza, leader of 200 fallen angels, fears he alone will bear the blame for taking human wives. But they all swear a binding oath, on Mount Hermon no less, and proceed with their forbidden plan. Their union with human women births the Nephilim, towering giants who wreak havoc on earth, consuming resources and spreading destruction. But the tale grows darker still. Azazel, one of the fallen, teaches humanity forbidden knowledge, weapon-making, metallurgy, cosmetics, enchantments, and astrology. Civilization advances, but with it, corruption spreads like wildfire. Each angel passes forbidden wisdom, enchantments, the stars, the movements of clouds and the moon. Human beings are reshaped, not by God, but by the influence of these rebel watchers. At this point, 4 archangels, Michael, Uriel, Raphael, and Gabriel, plead with God to intervene, and he does. Uriel is sent to warn Noah of a coming flood. God commands Raphael to imprison Azazel, Gabriel to deal with the giants, and Michael to bind the fallen angels for good. Book of Proverbs. Before the Gospels echoed his name, the Son of Man first sat on a throne of glory in the pages of Enoch's forgotten wisdom. Chapters 37 to 71 of the Book of Enoch are known as the Book of Proverbs. Scholars have long debated its origins, suggesting it may have been built upon the Book of the Watchers, a kind of spiritual sequel that expands on themes of final judgment and eschatology. But this time, the lens widens. No longer is it just about the fate of the fallen angels. It now turns its gaze toward the wicked rulers of the earth, weaving together celestial justice and earthly consequence. What makes this section particularly fascinating is its repeated use of the phrase Son of Man, a title bestowed upon the eschatological hero. He is also called the Righteous One, the Elect One, and the Messiah, enthroned in glory at the final judgment. In fact, the first recorded instance where Son of Man is used as a distinct title within the Hebrew Scriptures. And it's more than a name. It may have shaped the very foundation of how early Christian teachings came to understand and revere that title. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.